Hola, senor. I got to bring us both on here. What's up, senor? Karl, good to have you back on our 11-part series leading up to the NFL draft. Love having you on here. How you doing, Karl?
Real good, Adam. Thanks for having me on, man.
Mason Graham is already a Hall of Famer, in your opinion, huh?
It might as well be, yeah.
I always have to point out the sign behind you because I always get a kick out of your signs. There's some good ones, some that I can't show my kids, but there's some good ones. So appreciate you having you on here. 12-part or 11-part series leading up to the draft. We are how many weeks away? It's got to be 10 weeks away now from the NFL draft and the excitement that ensues. And as much as I will tell you, maybe Karl would tell you, maybe anybody else would tell you, nobody has a freaking clue what the Bears are going to do. Nobody does. We can pretend like we do, and we can try to analyze it and break it down. That's why we're here. So I do appreciate you coming on.
Eddie George would tell you that he knows exactly what's going on that Bears draft board, and both of those Ohio State running backs are going to be on the Bears board potentially. We'll talk about that.
Now, I don't doubt that at all. For those who are tuning in, this is going to be that episode. We're going to talk about the running backs today. We kind of got into that at the end of the last episode. It kind of took it over. If you didn't see earlier today, Omarion Hampton was my player profile I did today. Go check that one out. My favorite draft prospect in this draft. Not necessarily, I don't think will be the number one running back off the board. We'll get into that. But a lot of good things to happen. I don't know. Was Eddie George more promoting his Ohio State alum? Or do you really think the Bears are set on going Ohio State running back?
What I can tell you is that because of Eddie George's compliance with the Bears to kind of spring into action and ultimately allow them to get Ben Johnson, I do think that Eddie George saying that both of the Ohio State running backs being on the Chicago Bears draft board is very relevant. I think that the Bears are looking, long and hard at drafting a running back, and I'm not talking about an UDFA picks round 7, I'm sorry. I don't think they'll go Ashton Jeanty at 10. We're going to get into that, but I would be surprised if the Bears didn't come away with a top-flight running back at the end of day 2.
Hey, we do have a UDFA on the roster, though, a lot of people have forgotten about with Ian Wheeler. And I made a video on him last year, and I'm still sticking to those guns. I think this kid's got a shot to leave an impression. I don't think he'll, change their dissuasion. I don't think he'll make them not draft a running back. But if he shows up in camp and does a great job, maybe, just maybe, DeAndre Swift could be on the trade block. We'll see.
I'm not sure. That's a bit bold for me. What I'll say about Ian Wheeler,
it's
right?
Satire. It's satire. I'm
good.
Just having fun.
Still got Twittered fingers. But no, if Ian Wheeler comes back and looks as good as he did in training camp in, this iteration of training camp, and he can impress Ben Johnson, the guy who brought him in, the general manager, is still here. So if they're in lockstep about Ian Wheeler looking good, I would not be surprised if Ian Wheeler makes the final 53, man.
Oh, I'm with you completely. And don't get dissuaded. If you guys who are doing your at-home research, just know that Ian Wheeler's going to show up some weird stat lines. They show he's like 4.55 speed. He's been clocked at 4.39. So don't always take things at face value when he didn't have an official RAS score and all that. But before we get too far, Karl, in the chat, I see some green, which is nice to see. Some of the members of the channel, I got to highlight some of that. Some of you members first. Oh, before I do that, Karl, I'm so sorry. Guys, tonight at 8 o'clock, BCP is on with Glenn Morgan, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Oh, that's a big deal. So after this show, guys, migrate over to BCP. One of the big things with Karl on here, I want you guys to see Karl. Now, he's going to be more behind the scenes on BCP. Go subscribe there too. But check out Karl's. They're both in the description of the channel. BCP's link and Thy Smi. Those are both in the link to the description. Check out both their channels. They're worth watching. I appreciate you guys doing that. Karl's a good sport coming on here, and I do appreciate a lot of his takes. So
yeah, I appreciate you, Adam. Thank you.
With that, I like those greens. I see the greens. Guys, I've got to pull this up. For those members, this is a work in progress, okay? So from left to right, we've done a couple things, and we've made a couple member-only videos. There are going to be some member-only things as we lead up to the draft, and I know some of you have liked it. There's been a couple that have been upset about those member-only. They call it the paywall. They call it, not everyone, you don't have to subscribe to the channel. I appreciate those who are doing it to support the channel. Right in the middle there, you see the Walter Nolan video. I screenshotted that so you can see tomorrow morning. That one will be released after 1 week of being members only. I'm going to release it to everybody so you guys can have a chance to check out the Walter Nolan video. As you guys know, I'm doing a player profile, a prospect profile every single day for a draft prospect that the Bears could potentially take. Walter Nolan and I did last weekend. I'll do 2 each weekend that are member only. But on that weekend, the following weekend, I will release them from member only to everybody. So not trying to make it so you can't see it, just trying to do something special for the members as well. So appreciate you guys being patient with this as we come along. But on the left there, I've made my first set of emojis. So you guys that have the little green that are members, I want to see you lay some of those emojis down. Top one is the FGB vomit. You got a piece of cheese vomiting. The next one is just the bear down logo. We call it bear down. If you guys like something, there's a lock. So I got a lock logo, and then brick by brick logo with someone laying down the bricks. I got that Ryan Poles is laying down the bricks. I got the bear peeing on a piece of cheese. That's the bear FGB. Oh man, are they not showing up as emojis?
So it doesn't show it in StreamYard, but I've got the YouTube chat open. I can see Creighton Wilfong with that throw up cheese. It's beautiful, by the way. Sam L.
So I'm looking at StreamYard. So I gotta pull this. I might have to pull this over. Victor Perez, Sam L. These are fun. So there's the bear FGB, a fire, and then Jordan Love. I took some time creating that one. It's Jordan Love's torso and upper half with a big poop emoji on his head. For those who can't see that one up close, that's Jordan Love with a poop emoji on his head. So someone lay that Jordan Love one down. I want to see how that looks.
And if we know anything about Adam Mason Nation, he was being very nice when he created that emoji for Jordan Love. So there we go.
I took a respectful picture of Jordan Love and put the poop emoji on there. And anyways, we're having.
And that's
some
still
fun
you
here.
being nice about it.
We're having some fun here. So I like to see you guys in the chat having a little bit of fun with it too. So there's for the green guy. And then last but not least, I just want to give a little highlight to Wally Ferrej again. He made it possible to do the first giveaway we did when we did the what do you call it? The fantasy football championship where we had him go head to head. He gave away those tickets. Now nobody will see the fruits of that. We already know who the winner was. Dang, I should remember who it was. I apologize. We've already announced it on here. I'm not even going to try to pretend like I remember who it was. But
I can tell you, Adam, it wasn't me, but I remember being second place in one of your fantasy football leagues.
In one of the semifinals to the fan, because the two ones that won each league went head to head the next week.
I've got you. Okay.
And then we had a winner. So Wally Fresh did that. There's going to be tickets to the home opener for that. I've compensated him with a jersey. Wally's getting a jersey. He's matching mine actually. I have a Rome burnt orange Rome one, number 15, and he chose the same one. So we're going to do that as well. And then this last week, we gave away Dobbsy, won the first jersey giveaway for hitting 10,000 subscribers on the channel. So Dobbsy won that. We've already been in contact there. And then the helmet giveaway was to Pator. So Pator got the Rydell mini helmet. So a little bit of fun we're having on the channel. We're going to keep having some fun on the channel. So bear down, fam. Then we got the ticker of the members along the bottom. And then
I was going to say, Adam, that is a lengthy list. So congratulations and much respect to all the members. You guys are awesome.
I didn't update it before today, so I'm actually going to take it down. I feel bad. There's now 26 members, and I didn't update it, so we're going to take that ticker down. But I do appreciate the members, and I appreciate y'all being a part of it. So now, Karl, this is just for fun. This next part, this is for fun. Then we're going to get into the actual nuts and bolts of this episode. We're going to get down to the running backs. We're going to have a little bit of fun with this, and hopefully we'll try to keep it within the time constraints that we do. But this is, I feel like, are we far enough away from Virginia McCaskey's death that I can have a little light fun?
You know my answer on this. I mean, we had a stadium of Bears fans chanting "Sell the team." I think you're good, Adam.
We love her. I mean, she's a legend.
We sure
I'm gonna
do.
preface this. I was making this video when the news broke of Virginia McCaskey dying, so I just got to share. And my formatting didn't come across properly, but it's called "Do the Right Thing, Virginia McCaskey. Bring the Honey Bears back." So this video might have to wait a little bit longer. And the basis behind that, for those who do or don't know, is Virginia McCaskey took away our cheerleaders after the Bears won the Super Bowl. And some believe that is a curse. Some believe that we are living under a curse because we were sexist and we took away women's rights in the NFL. And we took away their ability to cheer on the team and be down on the sidelines. And we set women back 40 years because of Virginia McCaskey. I'm having fun, people. I'm having fun.
Adam Mason's in the weeds.
But we haven't won a Super Bowl. We won the Super Bowl 1986-85 season. 86 in January, we won the Super Bowl. And then she immediately took them away right after we won the Super Bowl. So I was having fun making that, and then the news broke, and I was like, I can't continue to make this video right now. I've got to put this on hold until some time has passed. Sam L. McCaskey family slander will be tolerated. Please continue until we win at least. Now, Karl, this is trivia for you. I'm going to feel bad if you don't know it because you should know it. I'm going to put you on the spot. I had you on the game show. What is the NFC Championship trophy called?
The George H. Hallis Trophy.
Good boy. I'm glad you knew that. So until we at least win that, I think there has to be rightfully some slander towards the McCaskies. They haven't held up well for us. They haven't made us proud. But I do feel like we're heading the right direction. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a parent when it comes to this. Hardest thing to do in sports, Adam, not football, baseball, soccer, just the hardest thing to do in sports, get the quarterback right. And all indications for the Bears are that they have the quarterback right. We found out last year that regardless of that, bad coaching can take a lot of, wins away from your star rookie quarterback, right? So hopefully, as long as we've got the coach right and we went the correct route, correct? We got the offensive mind to pair with the young genius quarterback. Not genius, but talented. The sky's the limit, man. So
I have to think, though, like, what were they thinking last year? I mean, we knew before this last season that Matt Eberflus had. I mean, this is part of turning the page. So this was the theme of the show here for this 11-part series, was turning the page from last year and the biggest, not only rosters, but we've made the coaching decisions now, but that was the theme of this, is turning the page on 2024. What were we thinking in 2024, bringing back when we knew we were drafting a rookie quarterback? We knew that was going to happen. I just don't understand that one looking back. I mean, we knew that he was a good defensive mind, but his situational awareness was apparent in 2023. Matt Eberflus, I'm talking about. So when you put that in a bottle and you look at it, you're like, what in crap were we thinking bringing him back in this situation with a rookie quarterback? I just don't understand it, but I'm glad we're correcting the course now.
The arrow was pointing up at the end of 2023, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like it was. So for them to bring back Eberflus, I'm not negative on it. Now, if you want to get conspiracy theoristy about it, you could say that Ben Johnson, who analyzed the Washington Commanders position, saw that Ben Johnson turned down the Commanders' job. Maybe there was a little bit of 4D chess involved with Ryan Poles, thinking that he'd be able to get him. Obviously, as a Michigan fan, go blue, I would have loved Jim Harbaugh to win the national championship and then coach the Chicago Bears. I'd probably still be in a coma today from how happy that'd make me. But Kevin Warren, former commissioner of the Big Ten, who potentially was going to have some sanctions against Harbaugh, that was just never going to happen. So I thought that maybe if they could get Harbaugh, they'd go that route. Obviously, it didn't pan out. And I think that them staying with Eberflus was rewarded with arguably the most talented offensive play caller in, not the NFL, definitely in this cycle, right? So we'll have to see.
And it's easy for us as Bears fans to say Harbaugh wanted to come to the Bears, but we don't know that. I mean, everything indicates he wanted to go to the West Coast. He wanted to go back to California. So I think he was already headed there. We may have taken our shot, and we just don't know the behind-the-scenes story. Who knows there? But
I think the public behind-the-scenes knowledge was that the Bears never even asked him, which sucks to say, but
well, yeah. Here we are. We have our all-star studded cast. I mean, when you think about that, I mean, we'll just take a brief minute. This isn't something we were really planning on covering, but when you think about the all-star studded cast here of this coaching staff, I mean, you got Ben Johnson, who you said was the number one coveted play caller, number one offense in all of football last year, and respected by everyone around the league as probably the top mind. But then you got your defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen, who is highly, highly respected as well. Kind of got a raw deal with the Saints with just everything they had going on.
With head coaching experience, which is uber important.
But then even beyond that, you got Al Harris down the charts, way down, who's like a savant for defensive backs. Who
look at what happened in Dallas. Like
who
even
knows what's going on with Jerry Jones? Whatever happens, like he's just a train wreck, man. I think Dallas fans are probably more frustrated than Bears fans, right?
Yeah, but like the Cowboys fans are also frustrated about losing Al Harris. I mean, Al Harris, in my opinion, is directly responsible for all those interceptions that Trayvon Diggs received, which resulted in a huge contract. Obviously, Deron Bland, NFL rookie. He was a rookie when this happened, but he's the leader in interception returns for touchdowns in one single season. So Al Harris is as talented of a defensive backs coach as it gets.
Yeah, 100%. And then you got Eric Bieniemy with the with the running backs, who was as close to a coach as you could have got to, offensive coordinator. I mean,
Super Bowl ring.
Super Bowl ring. We got an all-star studded cast. So we're not going to spend a ton of time on
bottom.
that.
Yeah.
But we've got uber knowledge, experience. This is different than last year. This is different than taking a shot on Shane Waldron, on just trying to plug holes. It feels like Chicago was finally the destination, and that's when things start to turn around. So I'm very excited.
D. Lewis, good comment. There were some indirect kind of little ties between Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles as far as Boston College. I think that helped seal the deal more than anything. I don't think that got the ball rolling. But then I'll take out the low-hanging fruit here for you as well, Adam. I know fans of Adam Mason Nation won't need to hear this, but Ben Johnson is the head coach and the offensive coordinator by trade. The offensive coordinator by name is a tight ends coach from the Denver Broncos, but he's essentially going to be Ben Johnson's film junkie.
Well,
So
that's kind of what the tight end person does, is they have to know all the schemes, all the different, for both running backs, wide receivers, all the line. They have to know all the different positions. So your tight end guy is going to be that junk. You're right. That
But
guy
he's the offensive coordinator only by name, right? So when I hear people saying, "Oh, the Bears' offense is going to suck because they have a rookie tight end coach, calling the plays," that's not the case. That's incorrect. And in my opinion, second in command, Antoine Randall El on this offense, again, another fantastic, just slam dunk hire. I am very excited about this coaching staff.
Yeah, we didn't even mention him, and you're spot on. And I like how they're doing a lot of former player coaches as well. I think that resonates, whether we admit it or not, that resonates with players. Anyone who's played ball knows that it goes, and I haven't played a major level ball. I'm not trying to insinuate that I was some big, but it goes with the players. The players do appreciate it. I got to hit a couple things in the chat here real quick. Number one, Creighton, I did miss it earlier. Creighton always brings us the breaking news on Gervon Dexter because he's one of the most exciting players on this channel. I want to see Gervon break out and be that guy. Breaking news, Gervon Dexter has eaten Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, was heard saying they still smell like cheese. Any of you who have the member emojis, let's get some stinky cheese going on. And then, I have not heard this yet, Jerome Munoz. The interview is not till tomorrow. So this is probably just more speculation. You get a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of people all around speculating what's going to happen. We don't know. Ian Cunningham is getting the interview tomorrow. And if he's offered it, I would have a hard time believing he would turn that down. Number two.
If I could add to that, I'm pretty sure he's one of the last interviews for the general manager position.
Yeah, they're planning on hire by the end of February is what they said.
But what I'm saying is, if I was, trying to have these interviews put into an order, and I know that it also matters on the flip side of the coin, but I would want the candidate who I'm most likely to hire to interview last. Well, because I want to have all the information going into it, and I want to have the person who I think will be the guy to leave that lasting impression.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's already done a virtual interview, and now he's doing an in-person interview again. So it's not that he hasn't interviewed yet; it's that they're bringing him in again.
I keep seeing
serious on him.
Yeah, exactly. I keep seeing tweets from the Jaguars suggesting that they've been doing in-person interviews already this week, though.
Yeah.
So my point is, last person in, leave the best impression. Hopefully that results in the Bears getting 2 additional third-round compensatory picks, but we shall see.
It would. And a big question I keep getting, I'm not trying to be braggy, but I do understand the draft and comp picks and understand these salary cap. Those are kind of my specialty. Someone was asking if we would get this year's or next year's. There's misconceptions about that. If he's hired before the league year ends on March 10th, we get comp picks this year and next year. If he's hired after March 10th, we would get comp picks the next year and the year after. It's depending on where the league year is. So it would be this year's 99th overall pick is where it would be right now. Now, they haven't designated all the comp picks. So if somebody else who falls in line before us got another comp pick for a player, they would fall ahead of us and we'd get pushed back. But right now, the Niners have the 99th overall pick as it stands today. and we would get a comp pick before that for the same reason, for diversity hire, for the Rooney rule. That's what their 99th comp pick is for. And our pick would be ahead of them because it does fall in line with where you pick in the draft. So we would get their 99. They would, not theirs, but we'd get 99. They'd be pumped back to 100 and so on and so on. So, okay, before we get any farther, and the chat's great tonight, guys. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to hit this one. There was a tweet. Karl and I actually talked before the show. I just don't like any misconceptions going on. Ked's the Canuck, and I'm not saying you're not misconceiving. I completely agree with your take. There's a tweet I made that every once in a while one goes viral. That's just how Twitter works. 100,000 plus people view it and comment, and it got big. It was about Kevin Byard, and that's going to be part of the show tonight, and that's why I'm going to bring it up. We are going to go over cuttable players, tradable players after the running back discussion. We'll try to keep this within a reasonable time because I know you got your show tonight, Karl. But Samo's my guy, but Kevin Byard was an absolute stud last season. He came to play every game. Samo and I don't have beef. Just a couple of people have already commented at me, sent me personal messages. We actually messaged each other after that comment. I have a very strong opinion. If you haven't seen from my channel, if you haven't seen from Twitter, I am a very highly opinionated person. I know I'm wrong a lot. I'm wrong a lot. I feel like I'm right a lot too, though. But Sam and I are good. We've commented, and we've actually through that have decided to do something together again. Who knows when? He was on last year when we did the draft coverage. So maybe he'll come on the draft show again. Either way, we're good. We're good. We're homies. Tight. We're good. No problem there. Just so there's no misconception.
I'm going to go to bat for Keds here, okay? The reason that he put that comment publicly in front of you, and the reason I asked you about that behind the scenes, is because we're one big family, man. We all want everyone to be on the same page because at the end of the day, we're rooting for the Chicago Bears. We're creating content to engage the audience. So just make sure everything's kosher, and I'm glad to hear that that's the case.
Dang rights. Dang rights. And this is an amazing community. I love the Bears community. It's
that's a fact.
Made this channel what it is, makes me and Karl connect. Karl and I would have never met each other in this lifetime if it wasn't through this Bears community.
Unless I was gambling over in Las Vegas there with you, but we won't get into that.
I never gamble, so you wouldn't.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time. I'm giving you a hard time. Someone in the chat pointed out how you're a stand-up guy for not selling out to the big Gamba sponsorships. Oh, man, maybe this time.
It's not even about being a sellout.
Will be on steak.com. I'm just kidding.
I hate watching the sports chat, and part of why I haven't even taken a sponsorship yet, because then there's that break where, hey, just gotta throw this plug in here real quick. If you guys got hairy balls, I'm gonna take my shaver and I'm gonna let you guys know how amazing this hairy ball trimmer is. Or hey guys, go sign up under me for BetUS, and you guys can make millions of dollars.
Hashtag not an ad.
Sorry, BetUS. I actually turned them down. They were gonna pay me good money to put their ads on this channel, and
you could automate that by just recording a video one time, Adam, and having it be a clip that you just play, so you don't have to do it live each and every time.
Yeah, but then you all have to listen to that garbage ramble going on. It's
that's why the Adam Mason Nation acknowledges this, recognizes this, and that's why you've got all these members, because they appreciate just all the effort and the hard work and the damn good ass content that you're creating, man. So.
But I am selfish too, Karl, because I don't know if you're supposed to say who if you didn't take SNHU. I think people know who that is. I actually believe in that platform in promoting higher education, but they weren't going to give me enough, so I'm a sellout too. It wasn't worth enough for me to.
No. You're holding out. You're waiting for the right opportunity.
Exactly. Time is money. All right, and all you people watching, your time is valuable too. So I know you like the banter sometimes, you like the fun, but let's get into this. What do you think, Karl?
Let's go for it, man. I like Muck's comment there. Take the bread and run.
Take the bread and run. I don't know. Not for a gambling one. We'll wait.
We're going to take the bread and run with this episode, I think.
Yeah, let's run with it. So last week we did. Let's get on here. Last week we did big roster decisions. We'll just run through this real quick. We did some salary cap. Those who haven't seen it, go back and watch it. I'm not going to explain all this today. We went through the salary cap. We went through positions of need, where we are heading into the draft, what positions we're going to be looking for. And this week, eventually, we're going to get into this right here, trade and cut-friendly contracts, which ones we think are realistic, which one we think the Bears could do. And you know what? There's no right or wrong answer, because who knows? Something might shock us, and maybe the Bears will do something we don't expect. Maybe they'll go ahead and pull off a major trade for Myles Garrett, which I think is a far cry and not likely to happen. But the Bears have every right to do whatever the Bears are going to do. But we're going to muck it up on here. We're going to talk about it. We're going to go over things. Excuse me, sir. In the middle of all of that, Karl and I went on a tangent about running backs. And we got talking about running backs. And this running back situation for the Bears might be the most compelling thing this entire offseason. So today, here's kind of the headline for our episode today. Turning the page on 2024, what are the biggest roster decisions with Karl, part 2 of 11. First half, Bears running back targets. Because, as Karl already mentioned, Eddie George already mentioned running back is high on the Bears board. And we did see at the Senior Bowl, Ryan Poles, Ian Cunningham, down there on the sidelines, they stuck, and that was the big news story everybody heard. They stuck right there on the offensive line, defensive line, watching the entire time. They wouldn't leave. But then, I don't know a lot of people realize this part or not, Ian Cunningham did leave for a short part to go look at who? The running backs. So it's clear the Bears do see those as two very important things, and we know Ben Johnson has his preference of how he likes things, and we know he likes a good solid line. He's got one. He had one. Now he doesn't have one. I mean, we don't have a line at all anymore. It's non-existent. And he likes a quick receiver. We don't have one of those yet, do we?
You're sleeping on Rome Odunze's speed. Many fans would hope to say that Tyler Scott is your speedster, right? But I'm of the thought process that we need to acquire a speedster wide receiver.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw my comment on Twitter there too, and I did it on a mock draft. I really like Rondale Moore. Do you think that's possible? We can get Rondale Moore.
Give me a quick refresher. Rondale Moore is.
So he was traded from Arizona, and now he's had injuries, so you wouldn't have even seen him this last year. So he was traded from Arizona to Atlanta for, and I always forget who Desmond Ritter is. That Desmond Ritter? Yeah, he was their backup that they ended up trading.
Oh my God, that's who we're talking about here.
Not Desmond Ritter. We're talking about Rondale
I
Moore.
know.
So Rondale Moore with blazing 4.32 speed and just constantly plagued by injuries. Last year he had I don't know if it was non-contact, but he had a knee injury. I know it was a knee injury in the joint practice they had with someone last year. You know how teams have joint practices in the preseason. It was their joint practice. He was injured, out for all of last year. So he didn't even play last year. Now he's a free agent. And I really like the idea of bringing him on the cheap, as a wide receiver 5. Maybe he proves himself. But some people have a misconception about Tyler Scott too. Are we getting into wide receiver video or running back video here?
You're setting yourself up for the wide receivers. Maybe that should be next week's topic. But I would stick to these running backs, man. I think that adding speed is important, and you can definitely add speed via the running back room, the draft for the running back room this year.
Agreed. Okay, so we're going to get into these running backs. Karl, we are going to do something we haven't ever done on this channel before. We are going to take and show how special this running back class is. We're going to briefly discuss them. If you guys missed it earlier, I did post my first running back. I'm doing 2025 NFL player prospect profiles for 100 prospects leading up to the draft. And I'm going to release my big board. I've never done a big board before. And I'm doing a big board this year, and I've got a lot of them in place, and I keep switching it every day, and I'm eventually going to release this thing. But I'm releasing these videos, and I'm showing where these prospects fall for me. So Karl and I have briefly gone over it. Karl's come up with his top 10. I've got my top 10 here on screen, and Karl's going to tell me who he had where, and he's going to give me comments about who these guys are. But before we do that, let's look at kind of where some of the main places have their big boards. So on the left there, you see PFF. And that's kind of how they rank their running backs. They got Ashton Jeanty going at number 5, Omarion Hampton at number 23, Cam Skattebo 46. Not a lot of places have Cam Skattebo as the 3rd overall running back. Dylan Samson as their 4th, Caleb Johnson, TreyVeyon Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, down and down and down if you can see that. In the middle there, you've got NFL mock draft database, and there's a million places, guys. This is just a couple of them that we can kind of mention.
Can I add on this real quick?
Yeah, go nuts.
So I'm not sure. Are you familiar with the Lord of the Rings at all, Adam?
Oh yeah, I mean I'm not a Lord of the Rings junkie, but I've watched.
Have you heard of the Mouth of Sauron Do you have any idea what I'm talking about there?
Now I know who Sauron is. What's the mouth of Sauron?
Okay, so it wasn't portrayed like this in the book, and I haven't read the books, unfortunately, and I feel terrible speaking like this, but the movies, you did see the mouth of Sauron. You saw Aragorn cut off his head in the third movie.
Okay.
When that guy came out. So all that to say, I am the mouth of Dane Brugler when it comes to NFL draft talk, because I adore Dane Brugler's takes. So, Dane Brugler has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 running backs in the top 100.
Ooh.
And he's been quoted on saying that he would not be surprised if like 12 went in the top 100. He couldn't see it happen, but he would not be surprised.
I haven't even looked at Dane Brugler's yet. We're too far away from the draft for me to get too far into that. And obviously,
do you want me to give you his list very quickly so that it aligns with what we're seeing on the screen here?
Sure, that'd be great. I love it.
Yeah. Dane Brugler's got in order.
And just real quick, I have to say, I'm excited to hear that, because you'll see as we're going to go through my top 10, I actually have 8/9 in the top 100, which is huge for a running back class. And I agree that there's 3 or 4 that could fall right there that could come up into the third round. So I'm 100% on board with this. Go ahead.
Uh-oh. Anyway, I'll have to sort that out on my end. So, I wrote it down. Top to bottom, Dane Brugler's list of running back rankings. Ashton Jeanty as the 5th overall prospect. Caleb Johnson as the 35th overall prospect.
So he's got Caleb Johnson number 2.
Yes. Omarion Hampton at 3, 36th overall prospect. TreyVeyon Henderson, 4th overall prospect at 49th overall. Jordan James, 62nd overall prospect.
Ooh,
Quinshon Judkins. Yeah, Quinshon Judkins at 70th. Dylan Samson at 80th. And RJ Harvey at 95th.
Ooh, he's got RJ Harvey. I've got RJ Harvey in there, too. And
we're going to talk about RJ Harvey, man. We're going to talk about him.
Aren't hot on him. One of my very first mock drafts I did for this offseason, I put RJ Harvey in there. And a lot of people were like, who? Who are you talking about? It's like,
we're going to talk about that kid, man.
So you got NFL mock draft database there in the middle, and then you've got NFL Draft Buzz over on the right. And these are just 3 of them. You got Dane Brugler, you've got Todd McShay, you've got ESPN, you've got NFL.com. I mean, you got so many different places. And you know what? I doubt if any one of them, including myself, is going to be right on exactly what order happens, because when it comes to the draft, the team falls in love with the kid, and all of a sudden you see Ollie Gordon, who some of you are mentioning in the chat, drafted 4th running back overall, and you're like, what? I didn't even have him in my top 10 running backs, and Ollie Gordon goes 4th running back?
Adam, you're talking about me right now, yeah.
All it takes is one guy or one team falling in love with a player, and they go high. So
yeah, these mock draft boards are not assembled by all 32 general managers, all 32 owners in one room. That's not how this works, guys.
Yep, exactly. Hey, Raheem Rocket Sanders is one of mine that's just right outside of the top 10. I do like Raheem. I like his size for the Bears. I like his play style. So if we don't pick one early, it's not a bad option. Excuse me. All right, should we jump into this? Should we jump into our running backs?
Please.
All right, so Karl hasn't even said. Actually, we ran through it quick, but so Karl got a quick view of my running back room, and we might have to make this bigger so you can see all the details. That's how I do it on the channel. I take some snippets from NFL Draft Buzz. I take some snippets from the PFF, whatever they call it, subscription stats, where you don't normally get to see all that stuff. I take some snippets from that, and on my individual videos, I'm putting together just a quick clip of the player playing. So I did that for Omarion Hampton today. Go check that one out. But my number 10 I have is RJ Harvey, who we just talked about. So RJ Harvey is my number 10. And you can see there on the left, I'm going to put where I have these guys ranked. And my ranking is 4th round. He's right at the beginning of the 4th round for me. So my number 10th one is just, like I said, I have 8 or 9 in the top 100. And then he's just outside of outside of that 100. And I like him a lot. But Karl, tell me how you feel about RJ Harvey and where you would have him on your list.
Okay, so that's really interesting. You have RJ Harvey as a 4th round grade, but you have him as the 10th running back in this list?
Yep.
You think that there's potentially 9 running backs that go in the first 3 rounds?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
There's going to be I agree.
That's how many
with you.
picks are in the top 3 rounds, or 100 picks.
There's going to be a run on running backs, but I could see that starting with the first pick in day 3, and it could be RJ Harvey. Now, I had RJ Harvey out of the running backs that I watched as the 7th best running back.
Okay.
And the reason why was because if I had to assign one word to RJ Harvey, that word would be wiggle. This guy's got wiggle. He's able to make you miss. My notes exactly, I was comparing them to some other players. So Dylan Samson. RJ Harvey looked a lot more impressive than Dylan Samson, but against worse competition, right? I also wrote down baller. I think in one of the clips, he caught an underneath route on 4th down against Colorado, and just his determination to make a guy miss, put his arm on the ground to keep him up in 4th down. He's got that breakaway speed too, man. Like, this is a really good running back prospect. The one thing that stood out too, I don't know if all teams do this, he's got the letter C on his chest for a captain. I would like to interview this guy, because if this guy interviews well, I could see this guy being drafted 3rd round easily.
Now you can see there at the bottom, multiple years of 1,000-yard stats, 1,578 yards this last year. Some of the key things that you look at the bottom there, man, I'm having some heartburn here. I apologize. Some of the key things there at the bottom, yards per attempt. I love seeing that. I love seeing the yards after contact, which is way over on the right below those orange bars. You see YCO/A. 3.88 yards after contact is good. It's just not quite elite. And I like his breakaway speed. I'm not going to give away everything I'm going to do in my individual breakdown videos. I appreciate all your insights on that, because I agree with everything you're saying about RJ Harvey. I love his speed more than anything. But for the Bears, I think we finally need to have that back that can both hit holes, hit them hard, and run forward and lean forward, fall forward 3 yards and get those extra yards, and can actually help Caleb to be able to be defended, to be able to help our tackles, to be able to help those linebackers blitzing up the middle and actually stop someone, because that's something we've been struggling with. And I don't trust DeAndre Swift to do that. I don't trust him to be able to stop someone coming up the middle, and that's just not RJ Harvey. So he might be higher on somebody else's board, but
I don't want RJ Harvey as a complementary piece to DeAndre Swift. I want RJ Harvey instead of DeAndre Swift.
See, and that's where I can agree with you, but I already feel like we have maybe Ian Wheeler in that role. Ian Wheeler is a good DeAndre Swift kind of comp where he's going to have that breakaway. Now, Ian Wheeler's not lightning quick either, but he's going to have that same role where he is elusive and he can be that receiving type of back. And I'm not banking on Ian Wheeler at this point. I'm not saying that.
And the thing with Ian Wheeler, too, is that he's coming off a knee injury, and this is a loaded running back draft class. He's not going to get poached. He can sit on the practice squad the entire year if his knee's not healthy for whatever reason, and even going into the following year can see what he's got. But, again, let's give Ian Wheeler a shot and not overdraft a guy like RJ Harvey, even though I like this kid a lot.
So just like what you just said in the beginning of this, I got to hit that. For this draft, more than any other draft I remember being a part of, there are so many guys in this draft, even beyond this. I mean, we get well down. Someone just mentioned Tutton. I've highlighted him on some of my videos. I was just actually going to bring him up as Muck said his name. There's guys later in the 5th, 6th round, like Brashul Tutton, who's like my number 15 or 16 on this list, who has extreme contact balance. But as you come up into the draft, into these top 10, you're going to see almost, I'd say 6 out of the 10 are some of the best contact balance type of running backs where they can take a hit and they're not getting hit and knocked over and tackled on the first hit. They're actually going to be guys that will benefit the Bears. This is the perfect year to need a running back for the Bears. RJ Harvey's not that guy. Now he doesn't suck at, breaking a tackle, but he's in this elite class. There are legitimately 6 guys in the top 100 and even more guys later, like Brashul Tutton and some of those guys that they can break tackles, and it's going to be fun to watch some of these guys. So you had RJ Harvey 7th, correct?
Correct.
All right, we'll see where we go from here. We're going to go to number 9 on my list, and that is Devon Neal. Now, I like Devon Neal a lot, and in any other draft, Devon Neal would probably be higher than 9th, probably top 5 running backs in any other class. But Devon Neal, to me, is one of those guys that can break tackles. He does have decent speed. It's not breakaway crazy speed. Not bad fumble issues, but a little bit small hands and small span, but good size. 5'11", 250 pounds. What are your thoughts on Devon Neal, and where did you have him ranked?
Now, unfortunately, I did not have Devon Neal ranked because I wasn't able to get any good footage in for him. Now, I don't know. You have him as the end of the 3rd round. Man,
I do. I've got him right at the end of the third round. I got him right.
We'll get into the weeds on my list, but I mean, this is nuts. I mean, what this is telling me, Adam, is that there's going to be a running back that everyone thinks is going to be drafted. Could even be a guy like this that goes in the third round that might go undrafted. I'm not suggesting that Devon Neal doesn't get drafted, but there's going to be some really quality players that are essentially going to be UDFA running backs.
You have to remember, there's only so many teams that have need. I mean, everyone has need at running back every year. It's a position with the longevity of running backs in the league. It's a position you need, but there's clear guys like, the Raiders, the Bears, the Chargers, the Bills, the Broncos. I'm sure I'm missing some. This is just off the top of my
Bills
head.
might need another running back if their starting running back James Cook is demanding $15 million a year. The flip side of the coin, Adam. Imagine being a free agent before this draft, a free agent running back. Could Najee Harris make less than $1 million a year? I'm just kidding on that. I'm just kidding on that.
I've already brought this up. Like when people bring it up, they're, Najee Harris is going to get paid $7 to $10 million. I said, no, he's not. We don't have to sign him day one.
You're going to get $700,000 and like it.
You're gonna
kind of joking.
As we go through the draft, though, maybe we don't get one of our top 5 guys, and we pick up a Devon Neal. Then we feel like, well, we need to solidify this running back room still, and we pick up Najee Harris after the draft.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Some of these guys might be presented with a contract in that first wave of free agency, and they like literally fall down, right? Like a Najee Harris. I don't know the numbers you just said, but he's a prime candidate to not sign until after the draft, man.
Which also on that front, you hear the rumors about, Ben Johnson took Jahmyr Gibbs in the draft, and then they traded DeAndre Swift right after. I don't think the two are as extremely correlated as people think. They are correlated, but the Bears wouldn't be able to do that same thing. So really, this isn't a situation where we're getting rid of DeAndre Swift this year, because think about that. If once the draft happens, all these teams have these really good prospects in the draft. Who's trading for DeAndre Swift after this draft? I mean, I think this is a situation where you roll out this year with DeAndre Swift, and maybe it's more likely that Ian Wheeler goes to the practice squad, like you just mentioned, and we can call him up when he feels ready, or when we've got him enough work,
or when we need to. And when we get into the DeAndre Swift talk, I mean, the way that Ryan Poles does business, he's not a cut candidate, guys. So,
well, he's not a cut candidate, period, because of the cap implications that would.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, that's not a Ryan Poles move. So even if you feel like you can upgrade at the draft and free agency, I still think that you roll with DeAndre Swift. And I've made a YouTube short that is essentially in my neck of the woods has gone viral, Adam. The title of the video was DeAndre Swift isn't good enough. I wasn't suggesting that he should be cut, traded, or anything else, but for the Bears to roll with DeAndre Swift as their RB1 would be malpractice. He needs to be in that third down, scat back, RB2 type role, and that's where he will shine. You will get your money's worth, and if you move on from him after that, so be it, man.
He's useful. So just so you guys who know, this is Spotrac. Here's DeAndre Swift this year. So as we look here, if we release him before 3/14, we have dead cap of $8.7 million.
Yeah, try again. Not happening.
And we save $500,000. That's not happening. Now, if we trade him, $2.6 million in dead cap and $6.6 million in savings, and that is valuable. That could be valuable, especially with this draft class. But like we just said, after you get through this draft, who's trading for him? So we're slowing down my processing speed of my computer. Hopefully it's not making a lag for the channel. I apologize for that, guys. Oh, Karl, I forgot to do this real quick before we get any farther. Appreciate you guys. Man, I love the chat. I love you guys in the chat. You guys are great. 82 in here right now, and appreciate you guys. Try to get to more stuff in the chat when we get a chance, but I have to show real quick.
Yeah. Sam's got a long comment. You don't have to pull it up, but it's just highlighting how important it is to address free agency first, and then we're really going to get a good idea as to what the Bears are going to want to do in the draft. But
yeah, we're 26 days away from free agency, 25 days away from free agency now. So I just want to put this on here. I know you guys aren't all UNLV fans. You guys are very familiar on this channel now that I am a UNLV fan. There was a tragedy. Do not know all the details yet. Does not sound like foul play, but Ben Chrisman was a huge prospect that we brought over. Transfer portal from Kentucky, a 330-pound offensive lineman, huge prospect. And he was found deceased in his apartment, and the university's done a great job of putting out a respectful comment of love towards him, and I just want to take just a minute to recognize him and this poor situation, and give love to his family and prayers to their family. Ben Chrisman was a huge part of this upcoming year for the Rebels, and he passed away. So I feel sad by that as a fan, and it's frustrating to see when these young people lose their lives so early. But prayers to him and his family. Ooh, and then I got to show you this. You guys know how much I've been hyping. Do you know who those two people are, Karl, after watching my show for a bit? Jackson Woodard on the left. I think right now he's a round 5 prospect linebacker who plays like Brian Urlacher. He hits harder than anybody I've ever seen. He was the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. Top 20 in all of college football in every statistical category for a linebacker. Grading out total tackles, sacks. He had 4 interceptions. He's literally in on every play. He's a freaking beast. And then the guy on the right there is Ricky White, the 3rd wide receiver. I think right now he's a 4th-round prospect. Both invited to the Combine. Very exciting for me. I can't wait to watch both of them.
And you got a very good quarterback prospect from a physical standpoint, at least, Mr. Alex O.
Yeah,
from
pronounce his name right.
University of Michigan.
Inciting everybody to make it sound like he's a dirty man.
I swear to God, that's how you pronounce the last name. I'm not going to repeat myself, but...
So, yeah, he's going to be a lot of fun to continue to watch. Most are projecting them to go to the playoff next year, but that's not the point of this video. Let's get back to the running back. But I just wanted to show Mr. Crispin there for a minute.
Absolutely. That's as sad as it gets, man.
Yeah, sad situation there. All right. Back to our running backs. So, Devon Neal, decent contact balance. In any other year, those who don't know, I'm going to point this out real quick. Those bars on the left, these are where some of the places have them highlighted where they think consensus where he will go. So Draft Buzz there has him at looks like 84. Draft Wire has him at 87. PFF has him at 88. NFL Countdown has him at 98. Mock Draft Database has him at 110. ESPN has him at 112. So just give you a little closer look there. You can see where they're kind of saying, and I'm saying right there at the end of the 3rd. And this little green or orange box is kind of my range of where I think they're in. And you can see that's kind of right around 97-ish to about 104. So I think he's going to fall right in that range right there. So number 8, you didn't have, or number 9, you didn't have him on your list, but this is someone I will continue to highlight later. Really
now,
good prospect, though.
I didn't delve into the nitty-gritty of Devon Neal and decide that he wasn't a top 10 running back. I simply haven't watched footage on him.
Okay. Who I got to get to now. Who was your number 10 then on your list?
Well, the fan in here, I think it's Sam L. I'm not sure who is banging the drum for Ollie Gordon. I can name you 10 running backs who I think are better than Ollie Gordon. I had him as 11 because I did watch some footage, and I don't know if he's any lower than 11. Are you asking for my 10th place?
I do not have Ollie Gordon in my top 10. Spoiler alert, do not have him in the top 10.
Yeah, same here. Now, Adam, are you asking me for my 10th place or?
Yeah, who is your 10?
DJ Giddens out of K-State.
I don't have DJ Giddens in my top 10 either, but he's one of those that's right on the outside of that. He's a 4th round prospect.
I know you've got a certain, I can't do it, Hurricane on your list. I don't have that player because I wasn't able to watch footage on him either. I don't know if he's any better or worse than DJ Giddens.
Ooh,
Dylan Samson was my measuring stick for outside of the big 6, I'll call it.
Okay.
But go on, talk about Dylan Samson.
So Dylan Samson, I've got at number 8. So here's my number 8. I've got him as a 3rd round. So this is showing you how high I have these prospects here. 3rd round ranking for him. You can see I have it right around that just below 70 to around 80 range. He's lightning quick. Absolutely love what I see out of Dylan Samson in the open field. A little bit light for me.
You would rank Dylan Samson's speed as lightning quick?
Doesn't he have like a 4.35 40, dude?
I'm not sure what the 40 is, and I don't put too much stock into the 40 time. My notes on Dylan Samson were that he had decent speed, and he has great lateral quickness, and I think that you really appreciate that.
I do like the lateral
highlights. On the highlights that I saw from Dylan Samson in 2024, I noticed that he kept getting caught.
Really?
So I don't know if that means he doesn't have the breakaway speed. Now, Dylan Samson's also a tough and very determined runner. He's not an Ollie Gordon type toughness, but he's tough nonetheless. And I also saw that offensive line, especially on the interior for University of Tennessee, he was getting some great blocking. So it's hard for me to assess if Dylan Sampson's really the difference maker. I'll give it to you the lateral quickness, but I don't think that he's got the Ian Wheeler top end speed that maybe you'd hope he has.
Okay.
In my opinion.
I think you're wrong. I love you, Karl.
Sure,
And it's
sure.
good. We can debate these. We don't always have to agree everything, and I love that about the Bears fan base too. Dylan Sampson, when he gets an open space, I think he's just he's a Corvette, man. He can cruise down the field from what I've seen of him. A little bit light for me, so the same problem I had with RJ Harvey is kind of the same thing here. I think he's only 190 pounds, so he's not going to be that brute that's going to be your pass blocking running back. He's not going to be that guy you put in there to help save Caleb's life against your linebackers that are coming like freight trains. So that's not him. But what I do love about Dylan Sampson is exactly what you said. He has vision for the hole, and when he sees a hole open up, he has very quick, what do you call it? 3-cone, whatever you want to call it, where he can plant his foot and change direction very quickly. One of the things that I've highlighted is very important to me in a running back is being able to have that lateral agility, being able to move from one direction to the other, and a vision of the hole. I like that in Dylan Sampson. I just think he's a little lighter than I would like to see for my difference maker running back. So they have him listed as a workhorse running back. I don't see him as a workhorse running back. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Again, I'll give you the lateral quickness. It's just that top end breakaway speed. I noticed him kept getting caught. And the holes, you mentioned his vision. I can't assess if his vision was great or not because I saw some really good holes that offensive line was opening up for him. And the Bears currently, as of February 13th, 2025, don't have that. That can change.
Should we go ahead and talk about Ashton Jeanty right now for that exact same reason as you've heard me talk about?
Hey, man, that's not Ashton Jeanty's superpower. And we will talk about him because I think we have him ranked. So
we do have him ranked, and I think some people on here think I'm going to have him ranked lower than 1. You're just going to have to wait to see where I have Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah, man, I thought you were going to come in today with your guns loaded and say, this is why Ashton Jeanty is a 3rd-round pick. But I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I'm not unrealistic, Karl. I realize he's a freaking beast of a human being with, like, muscles growing out of muscles. He's a power back. I get that. I'm not unrealistic to the situation here.
What he is at the ideal tippy top of the mountain, Ashton Jeanty is LaDainian Tomlinson. I'm not saying he will be, but that's the best outcome for his career.
You stole that from me. I've been saying that nonstop.
Stole that from the inner machinations of my mind, Adam.
LaDainian Tomlinson was picked where in the draft? Do you remember?
Which one?
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Oh, he was drafted very, very high. And in the same draft, the Chargers also got Drew Brees, man.
No, you're right. You're right. I haven't been saying LaDainian Tomlinson as much as someone else, and I'll give the reason why. But Leonard Fournette is who I've been saying most of the time. That's been my comparison. And Leonard Fournette was picked 4th overall, which, same type of buzz, same type of height. We'll hit this real quick, and then we'll get to Ashton Jeanty later. There's just no running back in this class with how deep this class is. To me, that justifies the Bears taking a running back in the top of this draft. There's just...
Yeah. I don't think that Saquon Barkley is in this draft. And even, Saquon Barkley had a historical year. I think there's a tiny bit of apples to oranges when you look at Saquon Barkley and Adrian Peterson. I just don't think that they're made the same anymore, and that position has been just degraded. So, I don't know, man. I agree. You cannot take a running back at 10. Now, if the Bears were to trade back, if the Bengals saw Will Johnson at 10th overall still available and said, we got to get up this cornerback, we have to trade up with the Bears, and we went back down to 17th, and Ashton Jeanty is still there at 17th, let's have a conversation.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think the running backs are making a comeback, buddy, and I think it's happening.
Absolutely, and I love how you're giving these guys a 3rd round. I'm curious how many 1st-round grades you have on these running backs, because there could be... I could see 3 running backs being taken on the first day. I doubt that. But there could be a deep run of these running backs on the 2nd and 3rd rounds because there's a lot of them, but there's also a lot of good ones.
What could kick that off, though? What if the Raiders go ahead and take... All it takes is one player getting the hype. And Ashton Jeanty's getting that hype. He already has by multiple fan bases. What if the Raiders say we can't wait? We're taking him at 6. Can you imagine the run that would make on running backs at that point?
Then, if the board doesn't fall correctly for the Chargers, I could see the Chargers taking Omarion Hampton. I will give you my word of honor that if either of the Ohio State running backs are available for the new offensive coordinator of the Las Vegas Raiders, Chip Kelly, at pick 37, that's where they're going to go. So there's a really good opportunity for these running backs to be drafted early and often.
Bro, I freaking love you, Karl. You're hitting things we were going to talk about in those spots. You're nailing it. I do think Chip Kelly's going to take TreyVeyon Henderson there at 37. That's going to happen.
I saw a mock draft with TreyVeyon Henderson at 72nd or something, and I almost threw up.
Yeah,
like
bizarre.
Try
All
again.
All right, so here we are with Dylan Samson. We've kind of gone over him a little bit. He was my number 8. You've mentioned this. You kind of foreshadowed it, who was going to be at 7. I know a lot of people won't agree with this one, and I do think my Bears bias is getting in the way of this one, making him higher on my board than other boards. But you'll see here, he is high on a couple boards. You see Bleacher Report. You see ESPN. I have him higher. You see there's only one lower than me. That's Bleacher Report. I've got him as a solid 3rd-round grade. This is Damien Martinez, running back out of Miami, and is a freaking monster to me that would play big for the Bears. He has good yards after contact, great elusiveness for his size. No, he's not your lateral agility guy, but he breaks tackles and he falls forward. He runs forward. And I like a lot. I put a lot of these guys higher than maybe they should be because of that ability to get those extra yards. We've struggled with having a running back that you can put in on 4th and 2, on 3rd and 1, and say, we need the first down, get it. And Damien Martinez would be that guy to me. Did you have a chance to look at Damien Martinez at all?
I did not, but I can offer this input. If you think that Damien Martinez is so good, I'm very low on Cam Ward. I think he's an okay quarterback, and if he goes first overall, I won't bat an eye. But if Cam Ward was in the 2024 draft class, I could have seen him being picked 7th after Bo Nix. So, like 7th quarterback taken. All that to say, then, why was Miami's offense so good? I'm seeing a lot of the second-round he's not a second-round wide receiver yet, but the crafty slot receiver whose name I can't remember. They've got a very good tight end who people are claiming is the best tight end in the draft.
I like Elijah. Is it Arroyo?
Yes, Arroyo. Thank you. Yeah.
And
I saw him mocked to the I mocked him to the Texans in the 2nd round. All that to say, though, is that if they have all this talent, that would support my idea that Cam Ward isn't that good. And if Damien Martinez is part of that group, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think Cam Ward is the best in this. We aren't doing quarterbacks, but I think but Damien Martinez is a big part of that. You look at his yards per attempt, 5.7, 6.1 in a system that didn't run as heavily as other systems at the college level. Yards after contact around 4. His elusiveness is high.
Whoa, yards after contact 4?
Well, that's pretty
That's
average.
good.
I mean, it's pretty normal at the college level.
I guess college, okay, but my mind is more geared towards the NFL. That's definitely something that the Bears need, man. And like you said, if you're building a board and it's through the Bears lens, this is very viable.
Agreed. We got to put this up. I didn't even see Shorty. I don't notice everybody in the chat all the time. I got to say, we did a plug for you. After you're done with this show, guys, check over BCP, who Karl's heading over there too. Karl's going to be more in the background for that, but they have special guest on tonight. I mentioned it earlier. Go check that out.
Mr. Glenn Morgan. Yes, it's always a fun time at BCP, and we appreciate the shout out, Adam.
Agreed. 100%. I'm going to go check that out tonight too. I agree with you, Shorty, but we're doing 11 episodes leading up to the draft, and this is my favorite time, even when I'm down at spring training baseball for the Cubs. If you're not a Cubs fan, I still like you, but I'm a diehard Cubs fan. I'm going to be there at spring training for a week. I'm going to have my computer. I'm going to have the combine on. I'm going to have, I'm torn because I have both things going on, but I'll cover everything as well. But it's all leading up there, Shorty. We're only 2 weeks away less than 2 weeks away from the combine, man. So it's here. But free agency.
Adam Mason, a true man of the people. If I could put a cap on Damien Martinez, is his style comparable to Ollie Gordon?
I haven't compared them side by side enough to know that. I'd say Ollie Gordon's probably a little more flashy. Probably not the right way to put it than Damien Martinez. Damien Martinez is truly, to me, He's truly that guy that's gonna just bruise a couple guys. Nobody's Derrick Henry, but he's 232 pounds and 6 foot tall.
That is what I saw from Ollie Gordon as well. Was I just wrote down strong. He likes the contact, but your flashy is awesome because that aligns with what I saw. Ollie Gordon's got a lot of highlights of him jumping over people. His leaping ability is something special. So I would rather have a running back who's better at running the football as opposed to jumping over someone. And if that's Damien Martinez in a vacuum, I'm all for that.
Hey, I want Saquon. I want both. I want him doing the flashy, jumping backwards, doing somersaults over people, and hammering people.
But Saquon's also got the top end speed. So, yeah, I mean, he's a really good running back. And we're not comparing anyone to Saquon Barkley today, I don't think.
We can't all have Saquons on our team, but we can hope to find the next great guy. All right, where are we at with this? Are we at 6 or that's 7, right?
I believe so.
6. Okay. Now I think we're going to start getting into some where we might have some common thread on. Where do you have Quinshon Judkins ranked for you?
So I mentioned the big 6, and I feel like maybe you're taking away from Quinshon Judkins because Quinshon Judkins had TreyVeyon Henderson taking away from him. But I had Quinshon
you're
at
giving
5th.
high praise here to some Ohio State guys. I got to say, you've got, for all this hatred,
I love
blue.
Oh man, I'm gonna do something that you've never thought would be possible. I'm gonna show you a clip when we get to a certain player that you're gonna just sit down for. So,
okay,
they are the national champions, right? But they are not undefeated. When you buy an Ohio State national champion T-shirt of the season recap, it's always gonna have that Michigan loss on it, and it was a fraudulent competition to begin with. How many teams were in there? 64? Is it the World Cup? It's a fraudulent win. So
Sam L is very high on Ollie Gordon. He's going to be upset that I don't have Ollie Gordon in my top 10. So,
Sam L, I apologize for our actions.
All right, give me your thoughts on Quinshon Judkins, though. He's obviously a very high prospect, and he can do everything. To me, he's a gadget guy that he can do everything. He can give you some speed, even though his breakout speed isn't the highest. He can pass block if he needs to pass block. He can hit a hole. He can change directions. To me, he's a very good prospect. I do not love his yards after contact, which is probably why I have him a little bit lower. That's more of a stat thing. When you watch him on tape, though, it's not a thing that you see where he's negative, where he doesn't fall forward. It's just something that hasn't produced for him. Go ahead with Quinshon.
Yeah, he's just a really well-rounded back, man. I prefer his Ohio State teammate, but again, man, I think that, like you said, he's a do-it-all type of back. And if for some reason TreyVeyon Henderson isn't available at 37 for Quinshon Judkins, or for the Raiders, Quinshon Judkins will be selected there. I will not be surprised whatsoever. He's that good.
Because of Chip Kelly. No other reason. Because I think that's a little too high.
Maybe. They need a running back, and he can fit the mold, man. Like I said, I don't think that we got to see Quinshon Judkins shine because they were kind of competing for, snaps against each other.
Yeah, but some of those that don't shine, like, for example, Roschon Johnson was behind Bijan Robinson. They don't get to shine. They do fall a little bit farther down. I mean, the Bears picked up Roschon Johnson in the 4th round, and whether he ends up turning out to be, the guy who stood in the spotlights and shined or not.
But I think it's fair to say that Quinshon Judkins is a better prospect than Roschon Johnson, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't think Roschon Johnson would have broke the. He probably wouldn't be in the top 10 in this draft, probably, as far as running backs.
Top 10 running backs. Yeah. No. Absolutely. Exactly. Yeah.
He might have competed right there with RJ Harvey. I don't know.
I don't know. Man.
All right. Where did you have Quinshon Judkins on your list, though?
5th overall.
5th overall. Okay.
5th out of 10. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Not the 5th overall prospect.
Exactly. So you can see this is a 3rd round ranking for me, right between 60 and 70. All right, next up. Is this too high for Cam Skattebo? You guys know I'm high on Cam Skattebo. I've been high on Cam Skattebo for a while. So before the season even ended, when the BYU Cougars were playing in Arizona, I did it on a video somewhere. I was like, Skattebo, and then I was all over Twitter. I freaking love this kid. And he's got that moxie too. He's got that grinded out, blue collar. I'm the guy that you put me in the trenches. You take me to war, and I'll be on the front line. I'll be the guy defending all of you. That's just who Cam Skattebo cries to me. Slow as dirt. He's gonna get caught. He's not gonna get you the 80-yard run where nobody catches him. but he can take 15 hits. Like, he can seriously be a pinball, get hit 15 times and break away from all of them and say, nope, you're going to have to literally take the whole team to drag me down. I've got him there in the early third round as well. What say ye about Cam Skattebo?
I've actually got Cam Skattebo at 6th, behind Quinshon Judkins.
Okay.
But the easiest thing for me to explain with Cam Skattebo, if you guys haven't seen the second half of the Texas game, go watch that. He's got the good form of CTE. This is a football player through and through.
Agreed. Sam L., I got to highlight this, man. Appreciate you with the super chat. Super chats galore. You're a great member of the channel. I really appreciate you. He says, I'll allow it. At the end of the day, if signing Rex Burkhead meant the Bears would win games, that's all I want. The Bears to win whatever it takes. Now, we're talking about a player, Rex Burkhead, who, same thing, can fall forward and get you 5 yards a carry. I mean, think about it, guys. If you're playing a game, you're playing a football game, and you need a first down, hand it to a guy that can literally just take the ball and crush through the line of scrimmage and get you 4 yards every carry. That'll get you first downs every 3 plays, and that's all you can ask for. So, good comp there to Rex Burkhead. What do you think, Karl?
Cap that off. I mean, Rex Burkhead is just the definition of a New England Patriot. A Bill Belichick New England Patriot. So,
I think that's a great comment there. Thanks, Samuel.
Skattebo is like Frank Gore, says Victor Perez. I strongly disagree with that. I think that's doing a disservice as to how good Frank Gore is.
You know who has the exact same size as Frank Gore?
Are you gonna say Cam Skattebo?
Nope.
Go for it.
Ashton Jeanty.
I mean, if that's a comparison, I mean, Frank Gore,
Not
literally, isn't
but
he like top 10, maybe top 5 in yards in the NFL, rushing yards in the NFL all time?
Well, longevity, man. Longevity. Can't say a word. Longevity in the league.
I can't say it. Yeah.
He played forever. So
longevity. Wow, you really messed me up there. Jeez.
You're welcome, Karl. Longevity. Blah, blah, blah. Latitude, longitude. Now I'm getting it all sorts of wrong things here. Hey, Michael Connell. I gotta put this on here. Michael Connor. I love it. I love it.
Is that what's going through DeAndre Swift's brain when he takes a handoff? Latitude, longitude? Question mark.
Something's going wrong there where he doesn't see the hole in it.
Whoa, Mr. Shorty's making
look
it
at that.
rain.
Thanks, Adam. Love your content, my brother in podcasts. Agreed. Shorty, we mentioned it earlier. This Bears community is absolutely phenomenal. I will be watching your guys' show here. I got to see Glenn Morgan with you guys on, and I always appreciate you, Shorty. I've been on there a few times with you, and I love yucking it up with you. Shorty, you're a good man, good member of the community, and good member of this channel too. So thank you for the super chat. So Cam Skattebo, put both of those back up here real quick to highlight these guys. Sam L, thank you. Mr. Shorty, thank you. All of you tuning in, thank you. I've been told I do too many videos and not enough live, and I'm realizing it's because of the community part of the Bears. It's part of the community part. I need to do more live, so I appreciate Karl agreeing to do this little mini partnership.
Is it fair to say that I was the one to push you over the edge into ensuring that this was live?
Yeah, that's what
it's all about, man. This is the best part of this community, in my opinion. It's just being able to interact with the fans. It's just beautiful.
I chat with Karl probably more than anybody on Twitter. Don't find me on Twitter if you haven't by now. Don't follow me on Twitter. It's not. Don't do it.
Ask Samo if you should follow Adam Mason.
We already went over this. Samo and I are
giving you a hard time.
You're good. Other people might not be good with me still, but. Hey, Levante Rogers, appreciate you. Keep up the good work. I appreciate that support, Levante. You guys are great. But, yeah, it is fair to say, Karl, you were the one that pushed me towards that. You're the one who made me decide to do a little bit more live. So it's kind of how this whole channel started, though, some live ranting. I did something called Free Talk Tuesday, all until the season started. Then when the season started, I stopped doing Free Talk Tuesday because I had to cover more of the season and what was going on. So I stopped doing, but we'll get more into that once the draft happens. I just ranting and raving and giving my opinionated opinion. And we're getting short on time here, Karl. I know you got your show in 50 minutes. Let's rock these, okay? I'm sorry.
Let's go for it. No, we're all good, man. We're all good.
We got to rock this. So, all right, Cam Skattebo. What else can we say about him other than he's a bowling ball and he's freaking a beast And Rex Burkhead, that was a great comp thrown out there where you can just depend on handing him the ball. He's not a fullback. Oh, what happened there? My bad. You see who my next one is. We got to go back here for just a second. So Cam Skattebo, he's not a fullback, but he could play like a fullback. But he's definitely going to be your guy you can put in for 3 or 4 yards. He can pound it, and if he breaks through, freaking fantastic, because he'll carry 4 guys on his back for 10 yards and get you the first down all on his own. Anything else on Cam Skattebo?
No, I was just reading James Horner's comment. So do you really want to take a running back in the top 100? I think it'd be asinine for the Bears not to.
Yeah, I think we have to this year. And it's all going to – Shorty said it earlier, Mr. Shorty said it earlier. It's all going to depend on what happens in free agency. You're going to get a really clear – and we'll do tons of videos on that. It's going to become a clear picture of what the Bears need to do. As we've shown, let me go back over here. As we've shown here, where is going to move this? Sorry, buddy. As we've shown here with the team needs, all those needs need to be filled somewhere. You know, in this, that's where the team stands. We've got 34 that are on the roster that will probably be on the 53-man roster. Now, whether we hit left guard, starting right guard, center, starting running, but whether that happens in free agency will depend on how the draft goes. If we hit a lot of those things, it's going to open up for us to be able to move running back forward on the list to be a second round, a third round pick for us. Will we take him in the first round? I highly doubt it with the depth of need we need on the offensive and defensive line. We need so much need there. We can hit free agency and still need to take one of these top defensive line prospects. So I doubt it goes first round. But like you said, if we trade down with, say, the Bengals, man, quit it with the noise. With the Bengals or with the Seahawks wanting to trade it from 18 or even the Chargers, I don't see us trading down that far. But if we do trade down and gather some extra second, third round picks, absolutely, I can see us taking running back first round with how impactful this class will be on the NFL for sure.
Totally agree, man. Are we going to start talking about some TreyVeyon Henderson?
Let's do it. So here's TreyVeyon Henderson, obviously in my top of the top. Late second round rank for me. I know a lot of people feel he's higher than that. I can see why. Breakaway speed with the bruiser mentality as well. See his yards after contact are 4.17 yards after contact while getting yards per attempt 6.9. I don't think his elusiveness, his style to juke guys out is quite the same for me as other people are seeing. So I don't have him as that top guy. But in any other draft class, I can see him being a number 1 or number 2 running back off the board. In any other draft class, I can see that.
Yeah. Man, Sam L., God bless you, man. That's fantastic.
Sam L., I got to bring it on again. Karl, you're not getting out of here anytime soon. We got too many people doing super chats. 1999 super chat, Sam L. You are like, seriously, appreciate.
And that's after the Ollie Gordon slander. This is fantastic from you, Sam L. Thank you.
So Adam's in-depth analysis of the cap space alternate endings for this team are literally what separates him from the rest. And I appreciate that, guys. I didn't start this channel trying to be different than anybody else, but it's the reason that I continue going with it is some of that analysis that I do on that stuff. So I'm going to keep bringing it to you guys. I'm going to keep breaking it down as we go along. It's become a passion for me. It's become more than just a hobby. I spend so many freaking hours on this every freaking day. Like I do my normal job and I spend just as much time on this channel now as I do my normal. And I'm not exaggerating. Like I spend 8 hours at my normal job and then I spend 40 hours a week on this channel too, at least. So I appreciate
that's dedication. That. That's dedication. Yeah, Sam L., thank you. And that's not even going to me. I appreciate you doing that for Adam because I know how hard Adam works. So that's just fantastic. Thank you.
Very, very appreciated. Karl, you've uploaded a clip here. I can see at the bottom. Is this going to be for TreyVeyon Henderson?
Yeah, it is. And you can see who it's against. I'm not stupid. I may be dumb, but I'm not stupid. I see a good play when I see it. So I'm very excited to show this off.
Before I show the clip, though, I got to leave Sam L's comment on here. And he gave a $20 super chat. I got to leave it on longer. You got to tell me where on the list TreyVeyon Henderson is for you. Where he is.
I have TreyVeyon Henderson ranked as the 3rd best running back in this draft class.
I can see it. I can see
TreyVeyon Henderson, if he was to go a couple picks after Ashton Jeanty in the first round, I would not be surprised, man. This guy's performance in the college football playoff impressed me as a Michigan fan. And again, you may want to remove this comment just for this clip. I've got it dialed in at 7 seconds, and I'm going to pull it.
Hold on real quick, though, because we got another super chat. We got
boy.
Prendergast. For real, I would take Adam over Poles, no cap. I can't agree with that. But I appreciate the comment and the kind words. That's very nice.
What about Adam Mason as the Ian Cunningham replacement? That's something. Let's get on board with that.
I would take I love putting the scout work in. I love analyzing and reviewing these guys. I don't want to make the big decisions where the entire city of Chicago is going to hate me. I can't have that on my shoulders.
Man, Mr. Shorty's still off the gummies. He had a production meeting and was off the gummies yesterday. He's still rolling.
You're not going to let me get Karl out of here. Shorty, donating another $10 so you can actually make $10. F you too. That's a pretty great comment, actually. Come hang out with us on BCP tonight. I'll send you a link. Hop in at 9. Hey, Shorty, I'll be there, man. I don't want to take.
Yeah.
Don't have me in with Glenn Morgan. I haven't earned that. I don't want to. That's Glenn Morgan. Have Glenn Morgan on, but have me. I'll come on. I'll come on at 9:45 Eastern for sure. That'd be fun. I would love to do that for sure. I would love to do that. So I'll be there. Appreciate
Public knowledge. Adam Mason costs $20 to be a guest. Understood.
That's pretty solid. All right.
And TreyVeyon
Henderson, just so you guys know, because I don't have the numbers on the screen. My number 4 prospect in this draft, late second round. I can see him going mid second round. And if we took him with our 41st overall pick, now this isn't where I think they're going to go. Okay, this is where I have them ranked. I do think there will be a run on running backs in the beginning of the second round, where you're going to have probably 5 off the board by the end of the second round. I truly believe that. Yeah,
you're not wrong. The more I talk about this, because again, I can see TreyVeyon Henderson going in the first round. I just don't think it will. But if for some reason TreyVeyon Henderson falls past the Raiders at 37th, if the Bears took TreyVeyon Henderson at 39th, as a Michigan fan, I'd be happy with that.
Very, very cool. Yeah. Any of these guys in the top 5, 6, I'm actually really good with the Bears drafting in the second round if there's a run on running backs. Now, if we trade down, like you said, and we pick up an extra pick, say we take Seattle's 18 and 50th overall pick, and at 50 we pick one of these top 5 guys, I would be elated to the moon. If our 4th overall pick, number 50, was a running back here, and we got TreyVeyon Henderson, nobody took him before then. I'm not likely, I know, but let's get to your clip, Karl. Let's get to your clip. We're going longer on the episode. We're gonna get you out of here in 12 minutes. That's what we're gonna do. Sound good?
Yes. This clip is 7 seconds long, so it shouldn't cause any issues. Okay. I want you to look at the running back next to the quarterback, okay? I don't know if you can see my mouse. He is TreyVeyon Henderson, the running back, okay? Next to the quarterback.
You see quarterback McCord in the backfield there, lined up.
Just behind the left tackle.
To the left there. You see that beautiful man, Mason Graham, right there, that beautiful human being.
I'm assuming you've seen this clip.
I have seen this clip before, but I love you showing it. So Mason Graham, number 55 right there, who's my favorite human being on the earth that I hope somehow we land at 10. Directly above him is TreyVeyon Henderson. Go ahead.
Yeah, watch what happens to 55 in white. Just the chip of a lifetime.
Oh.
Just the chip of a lifetime, man.
Replay it again. Roll that back one more time.
It's a 7-second clip. I don't want you to get in trouble. You sure?
That's fine. We can cut it out later if they give me I'm not on bad terms where I can't cut something out. I'll cut it out later.
You got it, man. All right. And again, this clip is courtesy brought to you by Brett Kallman, the great Brett Kallman. So thank you.
Slow that down a little bit as you get to the chip part right there and right there. Ooh, that's actually that's a pretty good shoulder he laid into him, man.
It's really good. What are you talking about? He set him on his butt. Boom. That's fantastic.
Now he didn't see him coming, or could have braced better, but that's still.
That's a great play from the guy. And I look at my sign.
I like it I like it a lot. Why do we keep having that sound go off? Knock it off. What's going on now? Now we're out of order. You're out of order. I'm out of order. Everyone's out of order.
Uh-oh.
Right, there we are. So TreyVeyon Henderson, you've got him. Where do you think he'll go to the Raiders there at the top of the second round?
I don't see a world where he gets past the Raiders at 37. I don't see it.
I can agree with that. The only world I would see where that could happen is if the Raiders overdraft Ashton Jeanty at 6. if they decide to go
Heck,
running back first round.
This is the Raiders we're talking about. Oakland didn't want them. They might want 2 running backs.
That's. I mean, it's possible.
I say that half joking.
They've got a quarterback to handle, but maybe they go get Aaron Rodgers and free.
Well, yeah, they can't get a good running back, so let's get 2 good running backs. That's a Chip Kelly thought if I ever heard one.
Well, college is different. You got guys transferring all the time in the transfer portal.
Well, Chip Kelly was in the NFL and decided to trade away LaShawn McCoy, right? So Chip Kelly, you just don't know.
He'll get his shot again somewhere. Well, maybe he's getting an offensive coordinator. What's his official role with the Raiders? It's not offensive coordinator, is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Attaboy. Go get him, Tiger. All right.
See how that.
We got 3 more to go. We got limited time. I don't want to cram these in, so we might have to extend this to next week. But we're going to have to get into the possible roster cuts and extensions next week, Karl, because we're running short on time.
We could pair that with wide receivers if you want, or if the chat has a better idea. But
what are some of the positions that might go through some cuts? Defensive end.
Some cuts as far as the potential players in the Bears.
Ryan Bates. Oh, man, there's so many endless possibilities of what could happen. All right, we'll get into that later. All right, my number 3, who I'm guessing since TreyVeyon Henderson was your number 3, this is going to be your number 4, my guess. Yep. Caleb Johnson, running back out of Iowa.
Yep.
Is that right? Is he here number 4?
Yes, I've got Caleb Johnson as my 4th-ranked running back behind TreyVeyon Henderson and ahead of Quinshon Judkins. Okay,
same thing with Caleb Johnson. Big back, 6 foot, 225 pounds. Probably should be a better pass blocker, being able to step up and protect his quarterback than he is from what he's seen. But I just think that's kind of the scheme of what Iowa ran, that he didn't get more credit for that. He didn't have to step up a lot at Iowa for that. So I think he'll be fine there. Another one of these backs were the contact balance. We talked about contact balance in the middle. That's the theme of this draft. Caleb Johnson could get hit by a Mack truck, and the Mack truck would bounce off of him 15 feet. He's just an absolute bruiser of a back that I am very in love with. I think he's a very high second-round ranked running back. I see someone taking him high in the second round, if not late in the first round if we go on a run. I like Caleb Johnson a lot. What are your thoughts on Caleb Johnson?
Yeah, Caleb Johnson's a guy who I just cannot see going in the first round. He's a fantastic player, but he doesn't have the upside of the top 3 in my list, in my opinion. But he's very solid. Something to me is telling me that Caleb Johnson will not get past the Broncos in the second round. I don't know what it is.
That's very fair. That's very accurate. One huge thing with him that I think Sean Payton will like with him is the yards after contact. Only shows 4.42 yards after contact, but you look at his total yards there at the bottom, 1,535. This is a very Ashton Jeanty type of stat, but actually playing for a Power 4 conference against Power 4 competition every single week. And I'm not trying to slam Ashton Jeanty with that. I'm really not. But you look at that, 1,535 yards, 1,060 of those were after contact. The dude...
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
now,
the dude is going to translate to the NFL because of that alone. I'm telling you, he makes things happen and he breaks them. And when you watch, I'm going to do one of my individual breakdowns on him soon. But when you watch him, he just looks bigger than 225 pounds. And when you say that, it's like, whoa, he's already 225 pounds. He looks bigger than 225 pounds. He looks like he would be a beast on any NFL team from day one.
And I've heard a lot of that Caleb Johnson was Iowa's only real offense. Like, Caleb Johnson was Iowa's offense. And that's something to be said, right? That's why I think that he's a second-round pick running back, and that being the 4th pick or 4th running back in my list.
Well, when you've got 1,000 yards after contact, I mean, you are doing a lot of the offensive work yourself.
Yes, absolutely. So I had... let me give you my non-Big Six, because I think there's a difference between my Big Six and everyone else. And
I haven't watched it real quick. Sam is really high on Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, that's funny.
Sam, I'm gonna take another look at Ollie Gordon just for you. I watched Ollie Gordon, but now I got to watch him some more. If you're saying he's Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry and the number 1, 2, and 3 prospects, I love this comment. It's a fun comment. I love it. I'm gonna take some more looks at Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, again, my list of players that I watched outside of the Big Six, I had 11, Ollie Gordon, then DJ Giddens, then Jordan James, then Dylan Sampson, then RJ Harvey. But my problem with Jordan James out of Oregon was that he was playing against Big Ten competition and wasn't looking as impressive to me. I saw many times where Jordan James had like a 15-yard run against Michigan, which may be against a lesser team that goes to the house, right? I want that logic to apply here to Caleb Johnson. Whatever Caleb Johnson did that looked good, he's playing against good competition in the Big Ten, man. So this could be a very good running back. If you said that he's the second running back on your list, I really wouldn't be too insulted by that.
Yeah. Karl, how much time do we need to leave you to get over to BCP?
They'd want me there in 7:30, man. So,
okay, we got to crush this. 2 running backs left on the list, and I'll do future break. I do my individual breakdowns, so you guys won't be missing too much by us hurrying through the end of this. We'll get into more of it next week if we have to. We'll jump at the end of this train and start next week. This is an 11-part series. Obviously, there's 2 left that should be clear that are the top 2 at the draft, right? Omarion Hampton and Ashton Jeanty. Those who have watched me probably think I have Ashton Jeanty number 2 because I throw some shade at Ashton Jeanty. He doesn't have the lateral agility. He can't move east to west as much as north to south, but when he moves north to south, he absolutely runs guys over. It's a freaking beast of a human being. And he said he doesn't want to come to Chicago because it's cold, so he's obviously
before his PR training.
He's obviously a bit
matters.
of a wuss if he doesn't want to come to Chicago in the cold. He can't handle the cold. A little bit of a baby. I sat out there and watched Aaron Rodgers dismantle us with freaking his discount double check back in 2012. I remember watching that game December 10th, 2012. I remember watching, or maybe it was 13.
This is what the Green Bay Packers have done to us, man. Look at this. He's got the date right there.
Sitting there with negative 5-degree weather. That might not be accurate, but that's what it felt like. Negative. And I remember I brought home, I still have these collector mugs. They're these Chicago mugs that you buy the hot chocolate in, and I bought 7 of them throughout the game just to keep my freaking hands warm, just to keep them warm. And I don't even know where I'm going with this tangent anymore. But if Ashton Jeanty can't handle the cold, don't even consider coming to Chicago, you big pansy. All right, I went off. So obviously my number 2 is Ashton Jeanty, right? No, my number 2 is Omarion Hampton. I'm not unrealistic, but I'm going to tell you, Omarion Hampton in any other draft would be the number 1 prospect. He is a freaking beast at every aspect of being a running back. We just talked about yards after contact, 1,222 yards after contact, with 1,660 total yards, 4.35 yards after contact. And what I like about him, high-level competition, but still did it consecutive years. He did it this year. He did it last year. His elusiveness grade is off the chart. If you haven't watched my video for him, we won't spend too much time here because I already did a full breakdown video of him. He can change direction on a dime. He's one of those guys that can plant his feet and go the other way. He can see holes really well. I like everything about Omarion Hampton. A comp to him is Adrian Peterson. Some of you don't agree with that, but a lot of people are saying that comp. I can see that comp. He's very quick. What do you think?
Yeah, man, I don't mean this to be disrespectful to anyone, okay?
Got it.
If you were to tell me that you felt that Omarion Hampton was diet Walter Payton, I really wouldn't tell you that you're flat out wrong. I probably wouldn't agree with you, but I just fell in love with this kid's highlights when I watched him at 2 a.m., man. He's something special. Let me show you this real quick, directly from my Twitter. I made a joke about these stats, and I said, wow, I can't believe that Matt Forte isn't in the Hall of Fame. Well, no, those stats are from 2023 and 2024. Look at what we're talking about. All those touches, he hasn't fumbled the football. Omarion Hampton, if the Bears get Omarion Hampton at 39th, I'm doing something special. Like that is a slam dunk, great draft pick for the Bears.
Oscar, I'm not trying to pick on you. I actually love a lot of your comments. But bro, what are you talking about? Like of all people, Omarion Hampton can literally go from 0 to full speed in 2 steps. Like he can take 1 step and be full speed, 22 mile an hour on that second step. Like he's a freaking.
You guys can make fun of me because I said that Dylan Samson isn't this burner because maybe there's a 40-yard dash time that I haven't observed. I didn't see Omarion Hampton getting caught on his breakaway runs like I did with Dylan Samson. I think that Omarion Hampton is just as explosive as Dylan Samson.
Love it. Adam, the fact you'd be concerned about Chicago hating you just means you're the man for the job. Check out NIU running back Ontario Brown. UDFA killed Notre Dame. I have not looked at a single clip from Ontario Brown. So I'm going to take this to heart. I'm going to go and look into him. Jay Prendergast, I will do that because I haven't. I mean, there's so many prospects in this draft. I've been trying to mainly keep it at the top 300 and then a couple key UDFAs that have been rising the board. I will go check out Ontario Brown. I haven't looked at him one bit, so that's cool.
Ontario Brown's probably the exact guy like I talked about earlier. A good running back who's going to be forced to be undrafted out of circumstance.
Like it. Okay, Karl, I got to let you go, but we're going to show here. This is how we're going to lead off next week's episode. We're going to lead off with Ashton Jeanty. The final thought here. You can see a lot of people are not going to agree with this. I have him as a late first-round prospect. You see between 16 and 19. Second half of the first round. I do not think
I wouldn't call that late. Oh, yeah, 16, 19. That's not late, man. That's like
second half of the first round. So I kind of categorize things as first half of a round or second half of a round. So second half of the first round is where I think Ashton Jeanty should be drafted. I don't have him as a top 10. I don't have him at 10 for the Bears.
I think that Ashton Jeanty is a top 20 lock.
Yeah,
I think that Ashton Jeanty in the top 15 is probable.
Again, this is not where I think they will go. This is where I have them ranked in my own big board. I do not have him as a top 10. I don't have him as a top 15. He's going to land somewhere around 17 for me. But I think he could go as high as 6 to the Raiders. I really do think the Raiders could draft him at 6. The Bears could take them if they get a weird inkling and spur. I think that's highly unlikely. I do not think the Bears will take him.
Do you think there's a possibility for them for the Bears to, in some economic good fashion, to acquire Trey Smith, a starting center, and a starting left guard before the draft, which would then prompt them to allow them to take Ashton Jeanty?
No,
Is that feasible to you whatsoever?
You can't, because in this draft, this defensive line prospects are literally franchise changing, where Ashton Jeanty isn't franchise changing. There's so many good running backs in this class. I mean, he could be a quality running back for us, but there's so many other good running backs, and it's just not the positional value to take him that high with the depth of our needs. With all the needs we have to take a Mason Graham or a Kenneth Grant or a Walter Nolan or Tyleik Williams, one of those massive nose tackles that can really plug that defensive line, or even, there's so many needs we have. So even if we hit a few all-star Pro Bowl linemen at the free agency, I still don't see a scenario where we can take Ashton Jeanty or any running back in the first round. I just don't see how that's feasible with the rebuild process we're in.
I agree with you up until the point where you said first round. I do think that in a trade down scenario, the Bears drafting Ashton Jeanty is not awful. I'm not sure how I'd feel about it. I would love it once I accept that that's what happened, right? But what I will tell you is this, and I'll leave chat with this. What did fans and the NFL world say when the Lions drafted Jahmyr Gibbs?
Overdraft.
We thought that it was an overdraft. The general manager was abusing fentanyl, all these types of things. And now, in my humble opinion, Jahmyr Gibbs is the third best running back in the NFL.
Yeah, but where were the Lions on their offensive and defensive lines?
Yeah, right. Well, the defensive line, not that good. Obviously, outside of the great Aiden Hutchinson. I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying, taking a running back high doesn't mean it's an immediate death sentence.
No, it doesn't mean it's a death sentence, but it's just not the proper way to rebuild with where we are. It's not the proper way to build long-term when we have so few players on this roster that are high quality, building the correct way, 5 years on the roster because you got them in the first round. We just don't have. We got to build this the right way.
If the Bears only re-sign Tevin Jenkins before we go into the draft, and we draft Ashton Jeanty at 10th, I will literally cry live on stream. I will literally cry.
Well, that's not going to happen. But I also don't think we're going to be hitting all these big name free agents that everyone thinks. We always get let down by fans. Fans get let down by that. But there's a correct way to rebuild. And I've done a video on that, and I did it in my last mock draft. Taking these home run, we're one piece away. We got to sign this giant free agent for $100 million because we're one piece away. We're not one piece away.
Trade for Myles Garrett. I agree with you, Adam.
We're not one piece away. We've got to take some of these 1-year contracts like what's his name? The middle linebacker for the Eagles. His brain fart. Where,
Zach Bond.
Zach Bond. You take a Zach
I made a
Bond
video
type of
on
contract.
the Eagles Super Bowl winning formula. Everyone should just sign an all-pro linebacker on free agency, right? Easy peasy.
If we could only predict who it was. But it's a good formula when you're rebuilding, though, to take some of those one-year contracts of guys like Puna Ford, like, there's so many good options.
Zeitler.
Kevin Zeitler is, he's not expensive, but he's getting older. Perfect way to rebuild and draft guys behind him. So
with familiarity with Ben Johnson, literally last year, it's definitely a move the Bears should do.
I gotta end this thing because Karl's got another show. Those of you, I got to show the last super chat as well. So many super chats in this episode. You guys are truly amazing. Don't feel like you are obligated to do that. But when you do, it is very appreciated by the channel. It helps us to keep this thing flowing and going. You guys are wonderful. This community is wonderful. I'm going to keep pumping out the content, going to keep bringing it to you. Karl, thank you for being here. I got to let you go. Those in the chat, those who are watching, head over to BCP because they put on a good show, and they're going to have Glenn Morgan on tonight. Give a plug for Glenn Morgan, Karl. Give a plug for your show coming up.
Well, you can find me on the Thy Smi podcast on YouTube, on Twitter, obviously, Bears
Which
Country.
is in the description. It's in the description of this video.
Yes,
so
it is. It's linked. All you got to do is click it. So, Adam, thank you very much for that. As well as to Bears Country Productions. On Thursday, it's the Bears Country podcast. My show on Friday, Saturday afternoon is also simulcasted to BCP as well. Thank you very much to them for that. Glenn Morgan needs no plug, man. Glenn Morgan is freaking phenomenal, and I'm going to be very, very interested and dialed in to listening into what he has to say about the Chicago Bears tonight.
All right, I'm going to grab some dinner. I'm going to turn on BCP, and then apparently I got a link. I just saw the link. I got a link. I'm going to go join them for a little bit.
Yeah, man, that $20, you better show up, man. No, I'm just kidding.
They just bought me off. They bought me off.
After you said you're not a sellout, too. Take the bread and run.
Sam, I'm a sellout. What do you need me to do for you, Sam? You gave multiple super chats tonight. So, Karl, this is episode 2. Let's add this on real quick and take this right back to the very beginning for the highlight here. Turning the page on 2024, we did not get to the current cap casualties, who the Bears could be cutting, what makes sense.
We did one.
A little bit.
I think we've verified that we are not going to cut DeAndre Swift in any capacity.
There's no after what we described today. I hope people caught that. There's no way we're cutting him. Likely not trading him either. It's just not realistic with this running back class. So he's part of the roster. Karl and I are going to next week get into those cap rumors because you hear people clickbaiting off of that. Who are we going to cut? What are we going to do? Which ones are realistic in a rebuild? Which ones are the Bears realistically going to look at that they could cut, that they could, expend contracts? A lot of people saying DeMarcus Walker, Ryan Bates, Gerald Everett. That's why I put those 3 on there right there. We'll start next week episode with that after we briefly discuss Ashton Jeanty. To make up for not getting depth into Ashton Jeanty, I'll make him one of the ones I released this weekend. That was going to be a members only one for a week. I'll make that now the not members only one. I'll make somebody else a members only one. Those who didn't catch that, Walter Nolan is changing from members only to release tomorrow morning. That one will be coming out. So I know some people don't love the members only thing, but I got to reward those who have become members of the channel somehow. I got to thank them. So I do appreciate you guys being patient, waiting a week. And all of them watched it. I saw every one of the members of the channel. It shows their viewership, and they all watched it. So, Karl,
that's beautiful stuff, man.
Anything as we head out, thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for the community. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for the super chats. Thank you, everyone. Anything last, Charles, before you head over there, and then I come and follow you and watch you for an hour or so, and then
just thank you for allowing me to share your platform with yourself. Thank you for spending your time with me in chat. Thank you so much for spending your time with us and, welcoming me in with welcoming arms. You guys are fantastic, man.
Awesome. So I got here. Shorty told me to come on at 6:45 my time, 7:45 or 9:45.
I have a feeling that's going to be my job. So make sure you don't mute me on Twitter or something stupid, and I'll make sure to blow you up when it's time. So
just bring me in appropriately and don't have me overshadowing where I shouldn't be. Don't make me more
Dan said that he would like you to have a little bit of overlap with Glenn Morgan. So if that's what he wants and what you're comfortable with, I would love to see that as well. And I know Bears fans would as well.
Hey, go over there and see if that's what Glenn Morgan wants, though, because he's obviously like a a Bears like god. So make sure that's what he wants.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's really
I've got
awesome.
high respect for Glenn Morgan. So very cool that you guys have him on tonight. Chat, thank you again. All of you guys, thank you for being a part of this. We'll be on each Thursday. We're going to do this for 11 weeks. This was episode 2. We'll get to everything. We'll get to everything before the draft, I promise. So with that, Karl, thank you again. End it with a bear down. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Let's
Bear
do it.
down.
Claws up, man. Bear down.
And bear down. There's always a little lag. I'm ending the stream.